My video for January the 2nd, 2019 is video number 2953. The title is, "And Who, Disguised as a Benevolent God?" Dot, dot, dot. When I was growing up, Superman was one of the programs I watched when TV first made its way into my home. Those who remember that may remember what they said about the superhero. Quote, "And who disguised as Clark Kent, a mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper," end quote. Of course, we framed Superman as a benevolent hero who was, quote, "upholding truth, justice, and the American way," end quote. Childlike innocence, no doubt. I still live my life with that childhood idealism of wanting life to make sense here on earth, not some never land that exists in some other realm. I still look for the benevolent God of my youth to make the world better for those who uphold the idealism of truth and justice for all. Sadly, I realize that the God of the Bible I was taught was love was far from it. I've explained some of the Old Testament references in a recent video, but even some of the things St. Paul wrote trouble me. Quote, "For there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. Whosoever therefore resists the power, resists the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation." End quote, Romans 12, 1 and 2. And that's supposed to be a benevolent God? Obviously, the criminal operation we know as government must be resisted. Otherwise, humanity is doomed. What you resist persists is a blatant lie. I'm actually recording this a little bit later than I would normally record a video because I was expecting to record a video with a friend from Europe, Western Europe. Oh, and I waited and waited and waited, and he did not show up. And after 45 minutes, I just cut it off. I mean, I waited as long as I could. So I'm ending up making the video on something that I had jotted down for the new year, but I thought it was going to come later than it is right now. Anyway, yes, I appreciated the superhero and the idea of a superhero. That was one of my favorite programs. Not only was it one of my favorite programs, I think for at least 2 or 3 years as a kid, my Halloween costume was Superman. Believe it or not, that's the way it was. I think it was at least 2 years, maybe 3, that I was a superhero myself. And in a sense, I've always been an idealist that likes the idea of a superhero, of a benevolent God that's going to right the wrongs of the world and bring truth and justice with mercy to humanity so that we could all live in peace and harmony and learn to cooperate instead of fighting with each other, as has been the human history for so long. But again, the human history has been written by people who do not have the best interest or the highest interest of humanity at heart. They are not benevolent beings. Their whole intent is to enslave us. They did some genetic manipulation, cutting off a lot of our codons so that we didn't have full capacity of our soul within our bodily form and expression. And so our human life became limited by a demonic influence. And this is supposed to be, according to Paul, ordained by God. Give me a break. Why would God ordain evil? I mean, if that's the kind of God that there actually is, then we are in serious trouble, folks. And there is not much hope that we're ever going to get out of it. We're on a cycle that keeps going round and around and around, and we don't remember, most of us don't remember the things that went before. We're born into a new life with a fresh start, supposedly, but we can't grow because we don't know what happened before. At least that's true 99 point, and as many nines as you want to put at it, % of the time. There are such rare exceptions where people actually do remember some detail of at least the previous life, if not much further back lives. I've had things, but I at this point in time, I can't say for a fact that they were anything more than just an overactive imagination, imagining myself to be a priest residing over human sacrifice, which was one of my past life regressions. But in any case, I still am that idealist. I still am that person who tries to live according to a high standard. I try to build bridges to my friends and neighbors as best I can. It's a real challenge because some people are so stuck in their heads that they can't even consider that whatever it is that they're believing might be somewhat, at least somewhat misleading, if not totally debunkable. I mean, we have to get to the truth, or we can't be set free. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free, but first it'll piss you off. We've got to realize that everything in our culture, everything has been manipulated for a dark agenda. Everything. There's nothing that's not been. I mean, there's no religion that's been impervious to the manipulation of evil. I go to Hindu and I've gone to Buddhist services and stuff like that. And Buddhism, of course, is atheistic. But Hinduism supposedly has many gods. I don't believe that that's true. I think that's a misunderstanding. But in any case, even in Hinduism, if you go to where Hinduism is the main religion, and that is India, you're going to find a caste system where there are high ups and low downs, and the low downs are called untouchables. Well, that's not love, folks. That's not love. So I'm not just knocking one religion, because all religions have been messed with. And it's not to our advantage that this messing has occurred. It is to our disadvantage. We have to understand that the holy books and references have been, like everything else in our world, manipulated by those who want to control everybody else and everything on the planet for their own benefit. And we are seeing, if we are paying attention at all, we are seeing that some of these people in very high places are extremely malevolent. Extremely malevolent. I mean, even treating their own children and other children that aren't their offspring very, very badly. So badly that they murder them, drink the blood, they rape them. It's absolute insanity if you look at the world that we live in. How are we going to get out of this if there is no omnipotent and omniscient and loving God? How are we going to be able to rise above? We have to be empowered. That has to be something that takes place with our DNA being reactivated, so that the codons that have been turned off get turned back on, and we end up being able to exercise the talents, gifts, and abilities that were given to us at the very beginning before the manipulation took place. Will this happen? Will it happen in my lifetime? I mean, I've always believed it would, that would be the way of ushering in the kingdom of heaven on earth, not going to some sweet by and by in the sky somewhere or in another dimension or in another realm, but right here on earth, having the manifestation of good and the destruction, if you will, of evil by learning the truth. By learning the truth. Because only the truth can set us free, and only love is the fulfillment of the law. Thank you for listening, and namaste.